Hey everyone, Sarah in the house, and welcome back to another episode of WOTV Final Fantasy Brave Exvius New Content Overview, where we have a look at what's new every Wednesday. First of all, before we delve into today's material, I want to thank everyone for watching my videos. We finally reached over 200 subscribers, and for me, that's a big milestone. I hope that you keep enjoying my content. I'll do my best to cater for what's necessary in the community. And I always appreciate your input, whether it's on the negative side or on the positive side. We'll always turn it into something constructive. Now, I'm glad that there isn't much to do in-game today, except for the Tower of Reckoning, Trial of Reckoning. We'll delve into it. But yeah, I had a massive weekend. My guildmates and my family members that watch me will know what happened. So bear with me if I am not as accurate as usual. I'm still trying to recover. Anyway, without further ado, let's go into the summons and see what's up. First thing that we're presented with is the new vision card, Trembling Heart, which seems to be tailored specifically not only from the Chrome family, but also for Ice Magic unit. So let's delve into its specs and see what this card brings to the table. So, this card, once it reaches level 99, it will provide Ice unit mage up by 50%, Ice unit area attack resistance up by 10, then Ice unit damage limit up by 2,500, which is pretty good on top of the limit breaks that are already in place for those units. And let's have a look at what the rest of the Ice team gets. So the Ice team does get a non-attack ability and attack ability, a time reduction by 100 clicks, critical hit rate down by 5, which is a bit of a shame, but yes, this card is overpowered, so they had to nerf Ice unit somehow. Now, if you give this card specifically to Shell, and these are the global exclusive buffs now, Shell will get Mage up by 20% on top of the 40%, and Agi up by 5. Whoa, so she gets a total of 70% boost on top of her base stat, which is freaking crazy. Only downside is that she only has 2 offensive spells, but if you're gonna use her for a class match or as Ice selection unit, she'll be a complete bombshell. Now, if you give this card to Howlet, a slash attack resistance piercing rate up by 40. Whoa, now that guy is gonna do so much damage with his primary job. I'm not even gonna speculate how much better Howlet is gonna be. And if you give this card to poor Titas, which is a pseudo tank, he'll only get 20% more HP on his base. Overall, what do we think? I think that this card comes at an unfortunate time because we all know what's happening in next week, let's say. I wanted to touch on the fact that we are expecting a maintenance period of 6 hours, but it's not gonna happen. It didn't happen on Tuesday, it didn't happen today. It's gonna happen on Sunday, 6 p.m. game time, so still Pacific Standard Time. So guys, I'm telling you, for the Easter period, we are probably expecting something big because according to the JP schedule, if we were to, let's say, mirror it to the global, we already had the unit that JP got in the week that follows. So what better time to release a global exclusive? And I mean, I can't think of anything else to slot in there personally. Nonetheless, let's move forward. And there's a couple of banners that are not really the best, if I must say so myself. I do think that this is a waste of time for everyone. I do think that you'll be able to use your 2 tickets that you will be receiving this week in this banner. Hopefully you guys go for this and not for the 10,000 guaranteed, because you do want that 10,000 for whatever is happening on Wednesday. Moving on, we have a paid banner, which is complete disappointment, let's say. It is just for those paid players to spend their paid visual on something. And this is the complete casino banner, so if you're feeling lucky, you can try to spend the required amount of visual to see what you get. Now, I think this is pretty much meh. Maybe it might be good for new players because, you know, Having extra shards is always a good thing, on top of stars and mock shop medals as well. So if you are absolutely desperate to get shards for a unit that is part of the pool, then this is an option you have. Let's go further down. These are all repeat banners, and if you plan to eventually pull or build this card, you can obviously use the guild banner for the shards for that vision card. Now let's move on to the mock shop before we move on to anything else. Let's have a look at what's new this time. And we do have an April visual card summon medal A, where you can further get more medals for the vision card that is featured today. And we also have Trials of Reckoning summon medal B, where very interestingly, there's a couple of units that you can attain by using the medals that you will acquire through this fortnight event. Yes, Trial of Reckoning is going to be 2 weeks this time. Okay, let's move on to the shop. So I've already had a look at the special shop. There is no new deals this time around, so let's go directly onto the 2nd anniversary deluxe shop part 4. And what we have here, nothing out of the ordinary, if I must say so. I think you only have to be someone that needs to meet in a mental hospital if you're ready to pay 3,000 paid Visor for 1 chance of getting the vision card, at least 3 chances. I think that is insane. I'd rather spend pay free Visor on such a vision card that is part of the standard pool. Moving forward, I think this is actually a really good shop. You probably do want at least 2 ribbons of different version, and I'll talk about it more in depth into the Trial of Reckoning section as to why I think you do want 2 different versions of the Terrace ribbon. Anyway, if you're unable to build 2 from scratch, you do have a chance to get 1 from here for paid Visor. And generally, I say do not get equipment for paid Visor, but in this situation, the item is so good that in a situation where you can't build 2, I would consider getting it. Other than that, this is just standard or nothing that blows my mind, so I would save my resources. Further down, we have a shop specifically to build this week's vision card, and if we go further down, we have a shop tailored for the units that can be EX'd this week, and we'll talk about those EXable units and the new MA2 and the new units, well, the existing units that have an MA2 added to the game later in the video. From here, we will move on to the far plane. And the first thing I want to talk about, not Trial of Reckoning, it is Take on the Champion. I think this is going to be a really good event for 2 reasons. One, you'll actually get the chance to go against the teams that were victorious on the PvP tournament that was hosted not long ago. And the second reason why I think this is good is because you finally get the 10th of May, you will get a chance to create a team that will actually be viable against Elena and whatever team Elena is built around. So if Elena in particular or Light Evasion has been an issue for you, this is going to be the best way of you regularly and let's say, what's the correct term? I did tell you that I was a bit out of it today. Let's say the most reliable way of testing the team that will enable you to get the W, especially with your current equipment. You don't have to rely on mock battle, you can just rely on what is considered to be the strongest team to build your better team around countering those teams. So I'm pretty happy that this was even offered to all players. They must have realized that Elena is such a big deal and such a big issue to deal with that we were given this type of content, and I am not complaining about it. Now, let's go on to the Trial of Reckoning for Final Fantasy VI. No different than the previous Trials of Reckoning, so you go through your normal quest, and then you'll be able to get the feature item for the Trial of Reckoning, which is Terra's ribbon. Now, I personally think that if you can only build 1 ribbon, go for the barrier. It has really good stats, and Terra will, if you want to give this piece of equipment to Terra, she will benefit from the extra spirit. But if you get the chance to build a second one, I would strongly consider doing a critical version. Not only you get more critical, but you also get a bit extra accuracy. So for all those damage dealing mages that don't have a sure hit attack, this will be a really good piece of equipment, not only to have a higher chance to attack those units, but also the 15 human killer on magic attack will definitely be an extra bonus you will definitely enjoy. Terra, I think, yeah, with this she'll get up to 25 human killer with the card, then 25 with an extra 25 with either Chaos Odin or Bahamut, and then extra 15 with the Terra's what's it called, with the Terra's ribbon. And I'm not even sure whether you can get extra human killer on magic with Salire's TMR. Now we can delve directly onto talking about the new improvement for the units that we currently have this week. So let's talk about the MA2s first, and then we'll talk about the EXable units. So now, Gilgamesh will have Ice unit allies max HP up by 10%, Ice attack by 15, own HP by 1250, so that's actually added on top of what was already existing. He already had accuracy rate by 15, slash attack by 10, agility by 10%, and now there's been a change to his armor of discontinuity, which now will bestow a barrier on self that reduces damage by 3 times and raises slash attack and accuracy rate for 3 turns. So when you use armor of discontinuity, the text below is what will apply. And I think this will make him a bit more competitive, especially because he's still a cost 100 unit. And in the current Ice pseudo meta, let's say, they want to make him shine a little bit more, which is fair. And yeah, I think he'll be more prone to not dying if he gets close to one of the enemies. I think that the HP by 1250 is actually an extremely good improvement. And if you want to give him Blade Soul or whatever increases his attack power in lieu of reducing his resistances, yeah, he'll do a better job at dealing more damage and surviving at least an extra attack, let's say, especially with the current amount of damage that we're seeing in PvP. Let's have a look at the next unit. So the second unit that gets an MA2 is Yerma. Now, Yerma will get Wind unit allies max HP by 10%, wind attack by plus 15, own defense piercing rate by plus 40, critical damage by plus 15%, accuracy rate by plus 10, enhances soaring axe slash, lowers target's unit attack resistance for 3 turns, then deal large damage and raises own unit attack resistance for 3 turns, and will survive fatal damage for self for 1 time. So when Yerma uses soaring axe, the below text will occur. And I think that is pretty good. So not only she gets physical buff, she also gets defensive buff, which will massively improve her survivability. That's actually what she needs. Not only I mean, like, her major issue is the fact that she's only limited to 1 type of attack, and I think her range is not that good as well. I think her survivability was also kind of questionable, so now she's been given that extra oomph that will make her a little bit more competitive. Still, I don't think I'll build her any further than what I've built her, unless she's boosted for some reason in some sort of content. But this will kind of allow you to slot her in a situation where maybe you need to add the third slash unit into composition, and you have no one else but Yerma. I think she'll do a better job at helping you get that extra oomph, and maybe not get the W, but at least complement your wind slash team. The next unit to get an MA2 is Seymour. He doesn't get much, but what he gets is actually quite relevant for his kit. So he gets Fire Allies max HP by 10%, top resistance by plus 25, own attack by 20%, defense piercing rate by plus 30, and accuracy rate by plus 30. I love what he's getting. He's a destroyer. He's a pure damage dealing unit. He has good supports in form of VCs. He has a VC specifically tailored to him, And I think that the fact that now he gets defense piercing rate 30 and further attack 20% and even accuracy rate 30 will make him a force to be reckoned with. Doesn't matter that he's an MR unit. Yes, some of his stats might be lower than a UR unit, but when we have a look at his attack value and the fact that now he has innate defense piercing rate by 30, yeah, I am going to start respecting this guy a little bit more. So pretty happy that I have him at level 120 in a class match situation, or even limited guild battle. He'll be a force to be reckoned with, stoppable by few. And I think finally we have Phoebe. Phoebe does get an MA2 as well, and she gets area attack resistance up by 20, agility by 20%, and move +1. So this will enable her to do her job a bit better, which is to get close to allies and use that revitalize or whatever her agility buffing skill is on top of haste and quicken. It's a shame that we don't have cast reduction, but the agility I think should complement and assist with that a little bit. The move +1 is gonna make sure that in a situation where Phoebe is maybe a bit too fast or a bit too slow, that she can reach your attacking units by being at a safe distance, so that perhaps units that have a very long range like Frederica, Lucia, and all of these guys don't get the chance to aggro her and kill her in one shot. Okay, so that was pretty much what we wanted to cover for the MA2s this week. Let's have a look at the EXable unit, and we'll start with let's start with Thunder. So Alim, let's have a look at Alim's kit and what she does a bit better. So let's have a look at the notes. She does get a bit of agility, good amount of luck. So if we go back, we can see that she actually has, interestingly enough, quite a high luck value compared to her dexterity. So she is pretty much considered to be a real ninja. So a damage dealer with evasion. So if we have a look at the rest of her nodes, he does have luck and attack, an upgradable attack node, which is my favorite. And yeah, she's got an attack upgrade and a passive upgrade. So let's have a look at the horizontal jump enhancement. So a horizontal jump will enhance horizontal jump to dispelling jump. Target lock-on, so similar to Oberon. Passive, but in this case is on the active skill. So target lock-on, deal large damage to target after jump delay, and removes all buffs upon critical hit. Now, what I don't like is the critical hit boolean. So if critical hit lands, then she'll be able to remove buffs. And I think this is kind of bullshit, excuse the language, but I'll be honest here. Why give a critical focused dispel when her dexterity is so low? Makes no sense to me. So all I can think of is that with leveling, as she gets her job level 25 and then levels to 120, her dexterity will be further increased, perhaps almost to match her luck. This is the only thing I can think of. But if that doesn't happen, then she's kind of a dead horse in regards of being a dispeller or having attacks that rely on critical. Moving on, at job level 22, she'll get HP up level 1 enhancement. So this will become Keen Lance Mastery, where she'll raise max HP, critical hit rate, and evasion rate. Now this makes a bit more sense. So critical hit rate will kind of be independent to her current dex stat, but it's still important to have a high dex stat so that then crit can occur to the first place. So I do really hope that her dexterity will be further increased as she levels up. And at job level 25, she gets a new attack skill, which is Skip Thrust. So this will deal medium damage to targets within area around self after moving to target panel and recover own AP upon critical. Yet again, another critical focused attack. So how do they want to treat critical in this case? Do they want to treat it as a gimmick, as something that actually shouldn't happen that often, but if it happens, then she gets that extra oomph? Or is the critical essential to make the skill worth it in the first place. Nonetheless, despite that, we can have a look at the AoE range, which is cross, which is nice. However, the range is up to 3 squares, which is okay. I mean, she's still a closer range unit. I think that if you want to kind of chip your enemy's life away, it will be in your best interest to have dual gunner as a sub. Okay, let's move on to the light units. So we have 2 light units that have EXable jobs this week. So we'll start with the MR unit, which is Grace. So what does Grace bring to the table? Grace, first of all, let's have a look at her nodes. She gets a lot of agility here, so she gets at least extra 6 agility, a bit of TP, a variable max HP node, which I guess it's okay for an MR unit. Makes her a bit more survivable, especially with the fact that her base HP is low to begin with. She was a attack resistant based unit, so her gimmick was that she had extremely high resistances, but now that those can be mitigated, such as magic resistance penetration, the sisters are not as good as they used to be close to the beginning of the release of the game. So I think they mitigated that by giving her a bit extra HP, and I'm not gonna complain about that. Now, job level 19, she'll get a Curaga enhancement where it will recover HP medium of allies within range and raises area attack resistance for 13 turns. So pretty good. I do appreciate that AoE resistant attack. Well, let's say cure and buff. So I think this would be really good for selection quest. I haven't attempted selection quest 11, 12, 13 yet, but I can see a situation where this AoE resistant is, let's say, bestowed buff will be beneficial. Now let's go on to the job level 22, which is regenerator enhancement. Well, it's a reaction ability. Not a big fan of them. However, it will increase the amount of HP recovered. So she's gonna pretty much become an MR version of Yuna. So this is Aeon Ball. Now let's go on the job level 25, and Mind Enhancer will raise Spirit and Spirit debuff resistance of allies within an area around self for 3 turns, and raise his own healing power for 3 turns. Yet again, this reinforces that she's a MR Yuna. So pretty good. I like what this does, but I don't really like the range. I think that if they gave her a range of at least 3, this would have been a force to be reckoned with in regards of support. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing that it has an AoE on self. And let's look at our best girl, Salire. I am honest, I didn't like Salire that much look-wise, but she grew on me. Was never a fan of Twin Tails, but with Summer Salire and Base Salire and how she developed in another story and the like, I'm really starting to like her. Let's have a look at what she brings to the table. So what do we have in the regards of nodes? We have a lot of it. Well, 1 agility node, which is nice. A bit all over the place. Hey, we do have a fair amount of luck and attack with a critical hit rate as well. That's actually nice. Super love the attack upgradable node. That's really gonna help with her drain rush. So now that we explored nodes, let's have a look at the job at the skill enhancement. So job level 19, she will get concentration vitality, where it'll significantly raise attack flash allies within area around self for 3 turns, and raises own defense piercing rate for 3 turns, covers AP. And I love the fact that AP will be recovered regardless of critical hit rate or not. So this attack is already extremely good. Well, let's call it this skill. So this buff is going to be extremely good for her, and she can spam this. Is a TP skill, so she won't really need belts as much, which is good, which also will be good for her fate. Her fate doesn't necessarily need to be a 50 anymore to equip belts. Now she can most likely rely on this skill to increase her current AP. Job level 22, she will get Nightblade sequence. Raises attack, accuracy rate, and lowers AP consumption and lowers evasion rate. Really good. I can already see this paired with the AP recovery on critical with Cloud. She'll be able to spam a lot of attacks. Let's say she'll be able to do her main job much better than she is now. So super happy to see that as a passive. And on job level 25, she will get Blade of Inertia, where she'll deal medium damage to targets and lower their agility for 3 turns, and raises AP consumption for them as well. Wow, this is actually a very niche debuff. I think that this is going to be the one skill that is going to, let's say, encourage me to build her to a level 120. So super happy to see her kit, very well rounded, very specific to what she does. She doesn't have to do anything new, she just does what she already does much better, and I'm happy to see her upgrade. And with that, that is all. Thank you so much for tuning in until the last minute. If you like what you're seeing and what we do, we appreciate any feedback in the comments. If you are new, do consider subscribing and clicking on that bell. That will help us and also provide us a better idea that we're doing a good job at spreading information that is relevant to you. Without further ado, let's end the videos. You guys have a good week, and we'll catch you maybe Monday after news. Let's see what I think I'll be around to explore news as soon as they came out. All right, guys, enjoy Trials of Reckoning, and we'll catch you next time. Bye for now.